Hey everyone, thanks for joining me this morning. A few people have asked me for a video of just a real-time drawing, so nothing sped up. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. Maybe sit back and enjoy a coffee yourself. I'll talk a little bit about what I keep in mind while I'm drawing. When I first sit down to do a drawing like this, um, I've usually just woken up and my mind is kind of scrambled. I'm sleepy, and I need to try to find some kind of meditative flow and a hand-brain connection. Um, this process actually really helps me get my thoughts together and get my brain working for a full day of work, because I have a full-time job. And um, so usually when I sit down, I've got a blank piece of paper in front of me, and I just kind of start seeing some flowing shapes and rhythms within that paper. And I start kind of from an automatic drawing, especially when it's kind of meditative like this. Laying down some lines, knowing that I'm probably going to do some organic tree shape, something sinuous and twisted. It's one of my favorite things to do. Um, and just focusing on lines and action and rhythm. As I start building out these shapes, I'm thinking kind of like they're letter forms. Um, Typography is beautiful, and the way it flows and the marks, the space that letters take up, um, the negative space they create. I think about that a lot, subconsciously. And again, I'm not setting out with a goal of what I'm going to draw. Again, this is my meditation. I'm just kind of giving you a window into how I do it, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. Typically, I do not question any of my choices of subject matter or anything, because my goal is to be present, to enjoy the marks I'm making, enjoy the pen, enjoy the black ink, um, and to be thoughtful. This practice is really about presence and flow. And it might be something really different for you, and this might not be as effective. I love drawing dark things, skulls and twisted trees, and it is definitely a tone and tenor to this pen and ink work. Um, this stark black and white approach is just really, it's beautiful to me. It's simple and complex at the same time, which I love, and I love, that's something I love in a lot of the artwork that I enjoy. With the Pilot Parallel Pen, one of the things I love about it is that you can get all of these different marks from this one tool, and you can use it flat and it becomes a brush, and you can use it on its corner and you can get these really fine lines. And so many people have asked me about this pen. It's just a really fun tool to use. It's like a paintbrush, or if a Sumi ink pen or anything like that that you discover and realize kind of the potential that it has for mark making. So you'll see I kind of like rotate it all the time, and depending on the type of mark I want. I also pause a lot to visualize the shapes. And here I'm just marking kind of the path of this tentacle, um, seeing if that rhythm works for me. It's just a way of putting in a couple landmarks for yourself. I think about how these shapes work with one another in space. I'm thinking about the balance of light and dark. Here I want this tentacle shape to go from light into shadow, go from something that has textural detail that communicates what it is into total darkness and becoming just a graphic shadow shape. This is something I really love to do as well. And I talk about kind of sometimes you need to say shush to your drawing when there's a lot of light or a broken shadow area. It's good to consolidate and try to keep those statements as bold as you can while keeping interesting textural detail and marks that you enjoy as well. Um, I think it's important to have a variety of marks and to think about big, medium, and small shapes. I know that's not a secret to anyone. Oh, here's our Pink Floyd interlude. Okay, where was I? I was talking about big, medium, and small shapes, and I think the balance of small, fine, delicate detail to large graphic shapes. Um, that balance is something that I really, really enjoy finding and exploring and achieving when I can. To me, it just adds a great degree of visual interest so that when I come back to a drawing I've done, I I enjoy looking at it. I enjoy the feeling of my eyes going across the page and my eye picking up these details while having areas of rest. Again, just personally, it's very nice for me. Um, I think it goes without saying, but edges are really an important thing to keep in mind in any art making. Um, if you have a piece full of only soft edges or a piece full of only hard edges, um, you're missing an opportunity for visual interest. And so I pay quite a lot of attention to um, the edges. I also love the geometry that you can bring in. And getting back to that idea of studying letter forms, there's a beautiful geometry within typography that's really um, valuable to look at and study. If you've never done that before, I really encourage you to look at all kinds of different writing and even try them out yourself. When I was at school at Art Center, we had a typography class, and we actually had to draw a lot of letter forms, and we had to draw them perfectly without any rulers or French curves or anything. And it was really difficult, but it developed a huge appreciation for that art form. I didn't have any intention of making a character when I started drawing. I just wanted to draw a tree and some roots, and the roots became tentacle, and there was a place for a skull, and that grew into a character sitting in this space. A little bit hard to see where this figure begins and the tree ends. Um, One challenge I have, I'm sure that everybody can relate, is smudging the ink that you've laid down. With the Pilot Parallel pen, the ink that comes with it, not only is it water soluble, which is dangerous, but it's also, um, it takes a little bit of time to dry. This Canson marker paper is amazing though, so the two work together really well. But I will sometimes have to lay a piece of paper down to be able to rest my hand on the drawing, so I do that. Just don't smudge the paper. Don't move the paper that your hand is on, because that ink is still wet. So as a lefty, I've dealt with this my whole life. Dragging my hand across what I'm writing. And remember, as the form turns from light into darkness, that's where you should focus on communicating this sort of surface texture. In full light and in full darkness, you can go full white and full black, because you can, like I was saying before, sort of quiet those areas and let the brain fill in like a continuation of that textural detail. You just have to do a couple things where you augment the edge and you give the shape the proper silhouette, and you can pretty much communicate anything you need to. Wasn't sure if I was going to fill this whole area black, but I ended up going for it. Here's something you got to keep in mind. You can see that I want to put black behind this tree root, but of course, if I make it solid black, you'll miss the root edge, so that will destroy that part of the drawing. So you have to retain a little bit of that light edge, which you can justify as reflected light, but it can't be as bright as your light side of that form, otherwise it doesn't really work. So I add those hatching marks into that reflected light to push the value darker than the light side of the object. If you think of the whole drawing as sort of a balance, a balancing act, There's a call and response, which is how do you respond to things that you do in the moment? Where does the pen take you? Graphically, what marks will balance the whole drawing out and make a statement that is pleasing to the eye. Thanks so much for watching and sticking with it through that long video. I appreciate you, and I hope you have fun drawing.